Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Joe 21 Love. Here to bring you your AEW Dynamite review for November 18th, 2020. Was a decent show. Hope everyone's being safe on this Thursday. It's still being crazy out in the world. So, eventually this month is going to come Thanksgiving, and then we're going to get to Christmas. So we got the holidays to look up to as we end this crazy year. Hopefully it gets over quick. But nonetheless, thank you guys for joining me. Getting into the show last night, it was a pretty good show. We had the Young Bucks versus Top Flight, young tag team, making their debut. We had the Inner Circle going to Vegas. We got the recap of that. We also got the what was supposed to be the contract signing for Jon Moxley versus Kenny Omega took a different turn when found out that Moxley was taken out prior to that contract signing. So we'll see about that. Also, big news. Congratulations to Jon Moxley and his wife Renee Young. Apparently, they are expecting a child, and Jon Moxley gonna be a father. It's an interesting thing. So congrats to them. Will Scott PAC his return match along with an NWA women's title match as well. But nonetheless, thank you guys for joining me. Click on that bell, like and subscribe, help out the video. And with that, we'll get into the notes and the episode, shall we? So the show started off with the Young Bucks taking on Top Flight. These were two young guys that they signed on the independent circuit. They're very young, 19 and 21, I believe those were their ages. What a debut. You can just see the involvement of this AEW tag team division. I mean, it was already kind of big to start, but eventually they just started adding teams, Santana Ortiz, trying to think, Butcher and the Blade, they came on the scene. FTR, along with the teams they already had, like the Young Bucks, Lucha Brothers, TH2, trying to also think, just a lot of teams, Best Friends, their tag team vision, their grooming, it's just good to see the development. But this was a good match, solid debut for Top Flight against the AEW Tag Team Champions. They did a heck of a job. Was sent Spanish Fly by one of the members. I didn't really catch their names. But was it 2 count? Spanish Fly by his Top Flight. One of the members hit a Suicida, and then the other hit a Tope con Hero. And then getting into the later part of the match was a sliced bread by Nick Jackson for a near fall. The top flight guys were taking it to the Young Bucks to start the match, and then the Young Bucks kind of took the match back as the match progressed. But the Young Bucks hit the BT trigger for the win. Afterwards, they were attacked by TH2, and the Young Bucks helped up Top Flight after match or after the attack. Took them. TH2, we haven't seen them on Dynamite much. That just goes to the level of the tag teams in the tag team division. But they are talented. Jack Evans and Hidalgo. And that would be a heck of a first feud for Top Flight. Whether it's on Dark or... Well, they're still really young, so I imagine we'll get this match on a episode of Dark. But it would be a nice first feud for Top Flight. Nonetheless, right outcome. Good for Young Bucks to get another win in good fashion over the Young Guns Top Flight. So, next we had the first part of the Inner Circle slaying Vegas. So, not really sure if they were actually at Vegas, but it made it really look so. And this was hilarious and funny. So, they showed the members of the new Inner Circle all conjoined walking together in Vegas. Next thing you know, they were at a table playing blackjack. Santana was having success. Sammy, it's funny. Sammy, MJF, and Santana were all sitting at the same table. Also, Chris Jericho. Sammy was feeling good about his cards. MJF, he got a blackjack. And Sammy, MJF probably stole his cards. But he turned all his cards and he realized those weren't his cards. So perhaps MJF took his cards. Who knows? But MJF said, Sammy, that's not a blackjack. Nonetheless, it was fun. So it showed them around, walking around the casino. Next, they were in a room that was filled with dancers. It's funny because everyone but MJ, except for Wardlow and Jake Hager, were sitting on the lounge or sitting on the couch, and it was the whole thing. The two big men were staring at each other or looking mean-eyed at each other, and it was hilarious. They were behind, just eyeballing each other. It was funny. So, next thing you know, they were at a bar, or MJF and Chris Jericho were at a bar, and like with the steak dinner segment, where they were trying to upend each other with the temperature of the steaks, they were trying to upend each other with the level of the tequila or the alcohol. So then eventually they agreed for 2 shots of alcohol Everclear. And then so So the bartender was having a hard time going back and forth. So they took the shots and they yelled in unison, "Son of a bitch!" That was hilarious. So then, next thing you know, you saw them walking outside, very gingerly because they were feeling effects of the Everclear vodka alcohol. So then, next thing you know, they were in front of another bar, and or actually, excuse me. So they were right in front of a limo, and then Santana Ortiz were like, "We know a guy that will help us have a good time." So then, next thing you know, they're in this limo, or Conan shows up. Conan, former of WCW and TNA Conan. Uh, Good to see him back. Funny. So he said, "I know I'll show you guys a good time." So they go in this limo and they come out, and a puff of smoke comes out. So next thing you know, clearly they were getting hot. They were getting high. And then so Conan and Jericho were hallucinating. They were like, "I see a dragon." And then next thing you know, there's this guy, this schmuck, on the sidewalk dressed as a dragon for some reason. Nonetheless, they were hallucinating. That was fun. And then next thing you know, they're at this bar uh, telling jokes to one another. And then once again, Wardlow and JK are eyeballing each other. And they try to upend each other. They're taking these guys one by one and beating them up right in front of the other guy. And then next thing you know, they throw these two guys into each other. And just hilarious. First, Jericho and MJF trying to upend each other. And now the two big men, Wardlow and Hager, trying to upend each other. It was just cool stuff. So that was part one. So then, next we got a promo by Jon Moxley. He talked about over his 60-year journey, how it all makes sense. Now, he talked about a time where his dad picked him up when he was a kid at the police station. Said he didn't hit him. He just said, "Son, we are the good guys." So he said that he's Jon Moxley and that he won't change. And that when he goes, to their contract signing letter with Kenny Omega, he will look him in the eye, shake his hand, and tell him that he's dealing with the best wrestler on the planet right now. And he also mentioned that he's going to be a father. He's got a pregnant wife at home. So, yeah, good for Moxley and good for Renee. So next we got Kip Sabian versus Orange Cassidy. This was fine for what it was. Miro, he was on commentary. Kip Sabian, he had a decent showing. But this feud has been kind of so-and-so between Miro, Kip Sabian, and the Best Friends. Kip Sabian, he had a brainbuster and an inside hook slam for a 2. There were train counters at the end, and Cassidy rolled him up with the mousetrap for the win. Afterwards, Miro tried to attack Orange Cassidy, but he was saved by the best friends. Clearly, this feud's not over. I'm not sure where it's supposed to lead. I think they're just trying. Well, first of all, Miro said that they're still putting together the bachelor party for Kip Sabian. So they're still building towards the wedding. Where that leads to Miro turning on Sabian, I'm not sure. But ultimately, I think they're just waiting for things to thin out in AEW as far as storylines are concerned. And then we get perhaps Miro in a bigger storyline. But for now, this is kind of where they're delegated to. So, nonetheless, it's okay, I guess. So, next we had the contract signing. And I say that with quotes because it wasn't really a contract signing. So, Kenny Omega, or first of all, Tony Schiavone was in the middle of the ring. There was a table set up long ways in the ring. He was going to be the moderator. He introduced Kenny Omega, and Kenny Omega, he just looked like that. He's little by little, he's tapped to that cleaner heel version of Kenny Omega. He came out in a suit. He came out with the glasses. He had that over top, of course, entrance now with the cleaner girls. And now the long introduction by Justin Roberts. It's just hilarious. So Kenny came out, and then Tony Schiavone introduced Jon Moxley, and Moxley music played, but he didn't show up. So then there was word that something was happening backstage, and then Moxley, he was laid out with officials around him tending to him, and he was unconscious and bloody nose, not knowing what happened. So then Kenny Omega took the microphone and proclaimed that, well, so last time it was a sore elbow tending to the staph infection, which prevented the match at All Out that was supposed to be last year. And then this time it's a bloody nose. Well, no more excuse, John. You can't run for me this time. So he signed the contract and then basically left. He had some words with Tony Schiavone, and that was it. So at least we got one side of the contract signed. Not sure where this leads to, but I guess it builds a little bit more to the story. But we'll see where this goes next week. I'm still pumped either way for December 2nd. Moxley vs Omega for the AEW World Championship. Another thing to mention too is in the Moxley promo, he talked about he had 2 titles in 2 different continents around the world. of course, because he's the IWGP US champion, I believe. So perhaps, in a way, maybe using the quote unquote injuries, they, after Omega beats Moxley, maybe they end up riding off Moxley for a few weeks. And we have Omega being Moxley, and then Moxley can perform at Wrestle Kingdom. I mean, we'll see how it all goes down, but you know, a little bit of element to add to the story. So now part 2 of the Inner Circle Sling Vegas. So they were drunk on a rooftop, telling stories, and then they got some schmuck dressed as Elvis talking with them. So then, after all that, Chris Jericho, and this kind of a hangover reference kind of thing. It was hilarious. But Jericho and the schmuck dressed as Elvis woke up in a bedroom side by side, and then they're all looking around like, what happened? And then next thing you know, I'm not sure if they were in the same building, but so MJF, he woke up in a bathtub, and then he woke up to apparently Sammy Guevara, who woke up in like a fountain, which was hilarious. And then Ortiz, he was up and he was working out. He was all lifting weights, and it was hilarious. But it turns out Sammy Guevara actually drew some stuff on MJF's face, which is hilarious. And then Sammy Guevara woke up to realize he has 3 wives. He was married 3 times. So that was hilarious. And then, so Chris Jericho and the Elvis impersonator went downstairs to try to find their Inner Circle counterparts. And then apparently Santana, he was feeding some chickens. He was sitting on the ground feeding some chickens. And then Chris Jericho, he heard some crying, or he and Elvis heard some crying. So they opened the door, and lo and behold, Hornswoggle, he is there crying like a baby, sitting there in a diaper, and it's just hilarious. And then Jericho says, "Guys, we got a problem." That was funny. That was hilarious. Once again, I'm so not. Well, I'm so curious where all this leads to. but should be interesting. So next we got PAC vs Blade. PAC in his return match, first Blade. A. Kingston was on commentary. This was a pretty good match. They were exchanging. This was kind of even to start. And then towards the end of the match, Blade hit a powerbomb for 2, then a lariat. For a near fall. Superplex by PAC. Shooting star. And then Brutalizer. Blade tapped out. After a match, PAC was blindsided by the Butcher, who was at ringside. Phoenix came out to rescue PAC, and then Pentagon came out and swung a chair at A. Kingston, and apparently the Death Triangle of the Lucha Brothers and PAC has reunited, and it's good. So apparently Death Triangle is back feuding with Butcher the Blade and A. Kingston. Good feud, nice feud. So the next we had Thunder Rosa for Serena Deeb for the NWA Women's Championship. This was alright. We haven't seen Thunder Rosa in a while. Obviously, she was on the buy-in for Full Gear. But, so she gets a rematch against Serena Deeb. This was our match. Was a Hangman's neckbreaker by Serena. Then they were on the apron. She hit a brutal spear on Rosa on the apron. Then, next thing you know, out of nowhere, Reba is at ringside. She distracts the referee. And then Britt Baker, she comes out of nowhere and hits a swinging neckbreaker on Thunder Rosa on the rampway. And then Serena hit a powerbomb for a near fall. They were exchanging again, and then Serena hit a faceplant pile driver for the win. Afterwards, Rosa, she attacked Britt Baker, who was in the crowd. I mean, a little bit of logic gap there. Like, she didn't think Rosa would know that, okay, so she just got attacked by Britt Baker, and then Britt Baker shows up in the crowd, and then they start brawling, and they were separated by officials. I mean, so, but yeah. So apparently, next feud for both, we're getting a Thunder Rosa versus a Britt Baker feud. Talk about polar opposites, I'd say, but they can make something good out of it. We'll just have to see. So then we got to the main event. Ricky Starks and Brian Cage versus Cody Rhodes and Darby Allin. This was an alright match. Just getting into the end. So was Crossroads by Cody on the Starks. Chaos ensued. All of them were in the ring. And then Brian Cage hit a drill claw off the middle rope onto Darby Allin, which looked brutal, for the win. And the Team Taz guys get done. I mean, Brian Cage, I'm kind of curious why. Because, I mean, they don't really count tag team losses and singles losses as the same. But still, Darby just won the title and then he loses in the tag team match, which is kind of But aftermatch was the more interesting part because Will Hobbs came out to save Cody Rhodes and Darby Allin. So he scared the Team Taz guys out of the ring. Then he picked up the FTW title, held it up in the air. Cody Rhodes stood up. And then next thing you know, just like that, Will Hobbs, he blindsides Cody with the FTW Championship, and it's official. Will Hobbs has joined Team Taz, and the three stood up over Cody Rhodes' body to end Dynamite, and Taz said, "We just getting started," which is how the show off the air. Also, to make mention, for next week, apparently we got Anna Jay of the Dark Order versus Sakawa Shida in the AEW Women's Championship match. Okay. Apparently Anna Jay is number 5, so, and, well, John Silver said that Brody Lee demanded that NJ get a title shot, but clearly that's just been because of Dark, AEW Dark, so it's kind of, if the AEW Women's Division continues to be the Achilles heel, and it's just, but I mean, we'll see how it goes. Also, apparently we got Jake Hager and Chris Jericho next week versus SCU. So some interesting matchups going in next week. But there was also a thing with Jade Cargill and Brandy Rhodes, but I'm not going to go over that because it's hard to get invested. But nonetheless, that was the show, guys. And that was the episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It was a decent show of Dynamite. I'll see you all back on Tuesday with another episode of Sports Overview Topics. It was a fun episode. Again, thank you for joining me. Like and subscribe. Thank you all, and I'll see you back next week.